And hi there, everyone. I'm Jamie Ray Gomes, filling in for Dylan Black for today. We've got a full hour for you, including 2 musical guests. The Science and Technology Museum is here. We're going to be getting some decorator tips, a whole lot more coming up. Oh, including getting ready for the ski hills this winter. But first, Wes Mason is here, and I'm going to show you his CD. His self-titled EP. Wes Mason is here. Thank you so much for doing this. How are you?
Great to be here. I'm great. How are you?
Give us a little bit of an idea. You've been at this for a long time. Mm-hmm. You've been writing songs since you were just a toddler, right?
Well, actually, the music is more kind of what I was into back in the day. Like I started piano when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And kind of experimented with different instruments. And
is music something that you knew that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, well, actually, no. It was always like my life passion, but it's really hard to kind of feel like it's easy to make that a career. Like I always kind of put off to the side, like, oh, I got to find a real job.
Yes.
But it's like then when I hit high school and other people were doing the same thing, and I had some songwriting friends, and it just felt right, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go for this now.
What was the first instrument you learned?
Piano.
At
5, yeah.
And then obviously you're into guitar.
Yeah, I picked this up. I think like when I was around 8 years old.
Now you do a lot of your own songwriting, and you've won awards for songwriting.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the Toronto International, right?
The Toronto Independent Music Awards. Yeah, that was huge, because that's my city. Like that's a huge city.
Yes.
The biggest in Canada for.
Yes.
There's a lot of upcoming artists coming. A lot of artists coming out of Toronto these days, and to be the best young songwriter in Toronto.
Is songwriting what you really love, or is it the performance side of things? If you had to choose one.
It's interesting, because I do love performing, but I really love the creative process more than anything. And songwriting is fun, but I really find it a lot of fun when I get into the studio and get to play around with all the instruments and the sounds. That's my favorite part.
Where do you find your inspiration for writing?
I get inspiration from all over the place.
So are you one of these? Because I've spoken to a number of musicians in my time, and a lot of them say that it really is true. You wake up in the middle of the night with an idea, and you literally are jotting down.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, we've got someone that's agreeing with me here.
Yeah.
That you really do, on the spur of the moment, write something down that you have found inspiration from unexpectedly.
Yeah, it really happens in different ways every single time, and a lot of times it happens when I'm traveling, because it'll be a spur of the moment, maybe a different take on life. Like I've been to Africa 3 times. I'm going back in December because my dad is from South Africa, and going there and seeing all that like their world and stuff. Yes. Like it's just so inspiring.
Yes.
So many ideas, just kind of.
You've been around a lot, like throughout Canada, really spreading your music and on radio stations throughout. How has that affected what you're doing?
Well, it's been a lot of fun. This is actually the last stop of my Southern Ontario tour.
So what kind of venues are you playing? Well,
I've actually been playing a lot of breweries.
Really?
Yeah, I'm recently 19, so getting on that.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's been great, because I've been getting amazing feedback and a lot of support everywhere I go.
Yes.
I've been over to Windsor. I've been now here on the east side, and I've been up to Manitoulin Island recently. So like it's just great getting to share my music with Ontario.
You have an EP out. We'll just show that
right there
for the camera. There we go. How is it going?
It's great.
And what was the creative process like for this like?
That EP contains songs that I've written in the last 3 years of my life, so it's very close to me. And a couple of songs I wrote when I was 15. Wow. So I had to put them on the record, because I'm like, well, this is a huge part of me and kind of where I came from and where I am now. So
social media is big for musicians that are starting out now, right?
Social media is everything.
Yeah, because I was looking on your website, like tons of views. Like you're getting a gazillion views for the music that you have online.
Yeah. Online presence is so important. I've been working really hard at that.
Okay. Well, we'll let you get to your thing. We've got producer Ben with you as well. So we'll let you do. And this is Consequence, right?
Yeah, this is my my current single, and this is like the acoustic version of it.
Awesome. Okay, we'll let you go.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Consequence of ignorance. did make too much sense. I have let you slip away. The worst mistake I've ever made. But now I've got this burden on my back, and I can't ignore that you're everything to me. Oh, the first mistake, I had to go and say the words that made us break apart. And now I am in the dark. Oh, it was the worst mistake I've ever made, and I can't take it all. I need you in my arms. Oh, 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 oh. Remember that one time when we watched the sun fall into crystal waters, and you smiled the biggest smile. Then later that night, when we put the tea on and we talked about life, and I cried, then you cried. But now I've got this burden on my back, and I can't ignore that you're everything to me. Oh, the first mistake, I had to go and say the words that made us break